Hey there everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ask the Team. We're here with our good friend Patrice from Solution Trauma.
Hello.
So Patrice, what do we need to know about tourniquets?
Well, tourniquets are medical devices meant to stop a massive bleeding from the limbs, arms or legs.
Okay, so we've got a couple of different tourniquets over here. Our viewers might recognize this one here with a little wine. Can you tell us a little bit about this type of tourniquet?
It's the famous CAT tourniquet, combat application tourniquet. Widely used, and the specification, you have like a rod here to turn, to put pressure
Hence the name tourniquet?
Yeah.
Turning.
So, yeah.
And this one here basically is the same type, just a different brand?
Exactly, it's the SICH tourniquet. This is the CAT tourniquet, and this is the SICH tourniquet from Ukraine, from America and from Ukraine.
So they produce them in Ukraine right now?
Yeah, it's produced in Ukraine.
Great. What is the overall difference between those two?
Well, it's this part that is not as wide.
Okay.
So, but it's entirely kind of the same use.
Okay,
the same way to use it. Yeah.
And some of our viewers might not have seen this type of tourniquet before, which is a rubber, an elastic band, a rubber band.
Exactly, it's the SWAT tourniquet.
Okay, which is stretch, wrap, and tuck.
Exactly. It's a very good medical device because you can do quite a lot of things with it. It's meant to be a tourniquet. The first use of it is tourniquet. It can be used as a pressure dressing. You can even use it for immobilizing a limb, for example. And what's really nice about it, it's you can use it on really small limbs. For example, on a child, or even on dogs for the canine units. Pros with this type of tourniquets is we can do a lot of different things with it, and the cons, it's a bit hard to put on self-aid on yourself on upper limbs.
Good, so we've spoken about pros and cons for that one. That was my next question. Let's go into why would I use this type, why would I use that type?
Well, those one when you are in disrupted environment and that you're going to have to put a tourniquet on yourself, and if you have like a plate carrier, for example, those are really easy to put on a one-handed use on the upper limbs. Okay, those are really the pro. It's really quick and really efficient. This one, it's a bit harder to put on the self-application on the upper limbs.
Okay, and for our viewers that are not in combat situation or in law enforcement, is there any recommended one that you would look at?
For myself, if I'm a normal environment or even in a disrupted environment, and if I'm not loaded with a plate carrier, I don't have too many equipment around me, I would take this one because it's more compact, multifunctional, and pretty easy to use actually. Even if you don't have a lot of training, you can give that device to someone. It's pretty intuitive to use on someone else.
Okay, great. When would you use a tourniquet?
Well, I would use a tourniquet if I'm in a disrupted environment, for sure. If you have a massive bleeding on the limbs. What do we mean by massive bleeding? It's a lot of blood on the limb, a lot of blood on the floor, or amputation. Even if there is no blood, I would use straight away the tourniquet.
So loss of a limb is being ripped off.
Loss of a limb or nearly lost, I would put a tourniquet on, no question about that. Massively bleeding, the situation around me is still really hot, I would put the tourniquet on because I'm going to gain a lot of time putting a tourniquet on. I'm not going to waste time doing direct pressure for a long time because the situation around me doesn't allow me to do that.
Well, we're now going to go out and we will do a demonstration on how to put on your good old normal tourniquets and how to put on a SWAT tourniquet.
Great idea.
We'll see you outside in a minute. We're now out here in our training area. We're going to show how to apply the two tourniquets that we have. We will be applying this in a hostile environment. Is there a difference between the hostile environment and normal environment?
Well, the thing is with hostile environment, security is first, is our main concern, I would say, and time as well. So we're going to try to stop the massive bleeding as fast as possible. And one of the tools that we have to stop the massive bleeding from the limbs are the tourniquets. So I would apply directly a tourniquet. If I was in a non-hostile environment, maybe I would choose some other options. But so far we are in disrupted environment, we're going to put the tourniquet.
But that's also then all based on training, knowing what to apply, where and when, so that you learn with training as well.
Exactly. As we are in a disrupted environment, we're going to try to keep it as simple as possible. So we're going to, if we determine that it's necessary to put a tourniquet on, we're going to put it as high and tight on the limbs.
So high and tight.
Exactly.
Right.
On the arm, high and tight, or on the legs.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So we're going to move over now and show you how to apply them.
So here, the SWAT tourniquet packaging like this. You have like a few openings on the package. Really easy to open. Don't leave any traces behind. So don't throw it in the nature. Up. Here we go. So it's about 140 centimeter long rubber band with some a pictogram. Those are tension pictograms that are gonna show you how much tension you have to put to use this device as a tourniquet. The small rectangle has to be squares and the oval has to be round to be a tourniquet. Okay? So before starting to show you how to use it, I would make sure that the surroundings around me are secure, or as minimum secure as possible. As we're working together, I know he has a first aid kit. I would use his tourniquet if possible, and then I'm going to take it, open it, and then I'm going to put the tourniquet as high as possible on the limb to make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. So for the first wrap, I'm just going to take like so, put it around, not worry too much to put tension, and then I'm going to keep the roll here as close as possible to the body and then put tension. And put tension. Are you okay?
You can actually start feeling the pressure now.
Yep.
So there is quite a bit of pressure on it.
Then for the last to tuck, so what we do, we wrap, stretch and tuck. Okay? Here on the last one, I'm going to leave it like this and I'm going to tuck it like so. Once that is done, I'm going to control if the bleeding has stopped. Once that is done, if it's possible for me to do it with the SWAT, the SWAT here, you have like a bracelet that you go and put around the arm and put the time. You're gonna know the time you put the tourniquet on. So here we got this, the SICH tourniquet. It's composed. The components are like a belt with Velcro, really high intensity Velcro. You have a rod, you have a buckle, and then you have like a triangle in metal that is going to allow you to secure the rod in place. So first, protection hands. We're going to put the tourniquet on the limb, on the lower limb this time. Okay. So I'm going to open entirely the tourniquet. I'm going to take the buckle, go from outside to inside. We're going to put it as high and tight as possible. Make sure there is nothing in the pockets that might slow the efficiency of the tourniquet. Then I'm going to put the belt into the buckle. I'm going to have my rod above the leg if possible, and then I'm going to put as much as possible. And then I'm going to secure the tourniquet with the Velcro, put it in place all the way as far as possible, and then I'm going to turn the rod until the massive bleeding has stopped completely. Then I'm going to secure the rod into the triangle like so. Once that is done, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to control that the massive bleeding or the catastrophic bleeding has stopped. To do so, I'm going to try to find the source of bleeding and then check it out. Once that is done, I'm going to reassure my casualty and say that everything's okay. Okay, Marcel, the massive bleeding has stopped. And then I'm going to go on into my protocol.
So we're going to recap a few points. Go ahead, Patrice.
Well, in disrupted environment, when we put tourniquet, first key point, safety for myself, the surroundings. Then if I have 2 words for the tourniquets, high and tight. And really important, check for efficiency. If possible, put the time and reassure the casualty.
We also want to find out from you if you had any experience. If you have, please put it into the comments. We love to get your ideas. We love to get your views. We'll have a look at them, and we will be looking for another answer or another question on Ask the Team. Patrice, thanks very much.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
And we'll see you soon.